You know that feeling? You're sitting on the couch, you get a notification on your phone. It's an email from your internet provider or your insurance company. You open it, and your heart just sinks. It's $15 higher than it was last month. Then you remember it was $10 higher 6 months ago. You've been a loyal customer for 5 years. You pay on time. You never complain. And their way of saying thank you is to hike your rates while offering the new customer special to the guy who just moved in next door for half the price. Does that sound familiar? Because if it does, you are currently paying what I call the loyalty tax. And in 2026, with the way service costs are scaling, that tax is getting expensive. My name is John, and I spend way too much time thinking about how big corporations use psychological inertia to drain your bank account. If you're someone who feels like you're doing everything right, you're budgeting, you're cutting back on lattes, but your fixed monthly costs keep creeping up like a slow-moving tide, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. The brutal reality of 2026. Look, here's the thing. We've been conditioned to think that bills are static. We think of them like gravity, just a law of nature we have to accept. But that assumption is costing you thousands of dollars. Here's a statistic that should keep you up at night. According to recent consumer advocacy reports, the average American household is overpaying on recurring subscriptions and utilities by roughly $1,800 a year. That's not a rounding error. That's a down payment on a car or a fully funded emergency fund sitting in the pockets of CEOs because you were too polite to ask for your money back. Most people think negotiating is for car dealerships or flea markets. But in 2026, everything is a subscription, and every subscription is a negotiation. The math, the power of the small win. Let's do some quick math because this is where it gets really interesting. Let's say you have four main bills: internet/cable, $120 MO, cell phone, $90 MO, auto insurance, $150 MO, home security/gym/miss, $80 MO, total $440 per month. Now, most people think, if I call and save $20, is it even worth the 30 minutes of elevator music? Here is what most people don't realize. If you negotiate just 15% off those bills, which is a very conservative target, you save $66 a month. Over a year, that's $792. If you take that $790 and put it into an index fund averaging 8% returns, in 10 years, that worthless 30-minute phone call turned into $12,400. Would you pay someone $12,000 to listen to hold music for half an hour? I would. The psychology, why they win, and how you can. Now you might be thinking, John, they'll just say no. They have all the power. Actually, they don't. This is where we need to talk about customer acquisition cost, CAC. In 2026, it costs a telecom company or an insurance provider anywhere from $400 to $900 to acquire a single new customer. They have to pay for the Super Bowl ads, the mailers you throw in the trash, and the sales commissions. If they lose you over a $20 a month dispute, they aren't just losing $20. They are losing the lifetime value of your account, and they have to spend $600 to replace you. You aren't a customer. You are an asset they've already paid for. You have more leverage than you think. Phase 1. The research script, the groundwork. Before you pick up the phone, you need the ammo. You cannot go into a fight without a weapon. The strategy. Find the new customer price for your current provider and their biggest competitor. The script. Hi, I'm looking at my bill and noticed it's significantly higher than the current promotional rate you're offering to new customers. I also see that competitor name is offering the same service for $30 less per month. I've been with you for 3 years and I'd like to stay, but I need you to match this price to make it make sense for my budget. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say I'm mad. I didn't say you're ripping me off. I used the phrase, make it make sense. It's a logical challenge, not an emotional one. Phase 2. The retention script, the heavy hitting. If the first person says, "I can't do that," don't hang up. That's exactly what they want you to do. The strategy. Ask for the retention department or cancellations. The frontline customer service reps are trained to say no. The retention department is trained to save the asset. You. The script. I understand you don't have the authority to change the rate. I'd like to speak with the retention department to discuss closing my account, as the current pricing is no longer competitive. Once you get to retention, use the price-value gap script. Look, I've enjoyed the service, but the gap between what I'm paying and the market rate is too wide. I'm looking for a loyalty credit or a move to the retention tier pricing. What can we do to bring this bill down to your target price today? The insurance pivot, a 2026 special insurance, is the biggest hidden drain on your wealth right now. Rates are skyrocketing due to inflationary adjustments. Here is the secret. Most people ask for a lower rate. Instead, ask for a comprehensive policy review. The script. I want to keep my coverage, but I want to review every discount I might be eligible for. Are we applying the low mileage discount, the professional association discount, the paperless discount? And let's look at my deductible. If I raise it by $500, how much does my monthly premium drop? Often, raising a deductible from $500 to $1,000 can drop your premium by 15 to 30%. If you have an emergency fund, which you should, you are literally just handing the insurance company money for a safety net you've already built for yourself. Addressing objections. But I hate conflict. I get it. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be a Karen. But here's the psychological shift. You aren't being difficult. You are being a fiduciary for your own family. Think of it like this. If you saw someone walking up to your mailbox and stealing $50 every month, would you sit quietly because you didn't want a conflict? Of course not. But when a corporation does it through an automated billing system, we call it politeness. It's not polite. It's expensive. The surprising revelation. The late fee. Reverse. This is where it gets really interesting. Did you know that most companies have a one-time courtesy waiver for almost anything? If you got hit with a $35 late fee because you forgot to update a credit card or a bank transfer failed, call them. The script. I've been a customer for X years and have a great payment history. This was an oversight. I'd like to have this late fee waived as a one-time courtesy. 90% of the time, they say yes instantly. Why? Because the computer system literally has a button for it that the rep is allowed to press twice a year. If you don't ask, they keep the $35. If you spend 2 minutes on the phone, you just earned an hourly rate of $1,050 hour. Action plan. The Power Hour. I want you to schedule a Power Hour this Saturday. Gather your top 3 bills. Find the competitor prices. Call the retention departments. Take the savings and immediately set up an auto transfer to your savings or investment account. If you save the money but just spend it on more stuff, you haven't won. You've just shifted the leak. To truly win, you have to capture that found money and put it to work. Conclusion. Stop being the easy customer. Look, the world is designed to take your money in small, unnoticeable increments. A subscription here, a service fee there. They rely on your busyness. They rely on your discomfort with asking. Stop being the easy customer. Be the customer that knows their value. You worked hard for that money. Don't let it slip away because you were too tired to make a phone call. Take control of your expenses, stop paying the loyalty tax, and start building the life you actually want. The hidden bills. Why you're losing the war on attrition. We've covered the big ones, the internet, the cell phone, the insurance. But here's what most people don't realize. Your wealth isn't just being siphoned off by the giants. It's being bled dry by the micro leaks. In 2026, we are living in the subscription of everything economy. Your heated seats in your car? Subscription. Your air filters for your HVAC? Subscription. That software you used once to edit a PDF 3 years ago? Still charging you $14.99 a month. I call this financial friction. Individually, these charges are designed to be invisible. too small to trigger a pain response when you see them on your bank statement, but collectively, they are the reason you feel broke despite making a decent salary. The zombie sub audit, the script for the silent killers. Most people think the way to handle these is to just go into the app and click cancel. But wait, because this is where it gets really interesting. In 2026, cancellation flows are designed by behavioral psychologists to make you feel loss aversion. They'll show you a picture of what you're losing. They'll offer a pause instead of a cancel. The strategy: don't just cancel. Negotiate the exit. The script for apps digital services: go to the cancel page. When the chat box pops up or the reason for leaving screen appears, select price is too high. I'm canceling because the value to cost ratio isn't there for me anymore. I'd be willing to stay for a 50% discount for the next 6 months. Is there a legacy plan or a maintenance tier I can switch to? You would be shocked how many streaming services and software companies have a secret tier that costs $4.99 instead of $19.99 just to keep you on their books. They know that if you stay on the books at $5, there's a 70% chance you'll eventually forget and go back to the full price later. Your job is to take the $5 and then set a calendar reminder to do it again in 6 months. The psychology of the anchor. Now you might be thinking, John, isn't it exhausting to keep track of all this? Look, here's the thing. The companies count on your exhaustion. They use a psychological tactic called anchoring. They set the standard price at an artificially high level, $150 more, so that when they generously offer you a discount to $120, you feel like you won. But if the market rate is actually $80, you didn't win. You just lost less. To beat the anchor, you have to bring your own. Before you call your trash collection company or your pest control service, find the smallest, hungriest local competitor. Get their quote. That is your new anchor. The script. Hi, I'm looking at my quarterly bill, and it's $145. Local competitor X just quoted me $95 for the exact same service. I like your technicians, but I can't justify a 50% premium. If you can move me to the $95 rate, I'll sign a 1-year price lock right now. If not, I need to schedule my final pickup. Notice the price lock mention. In an inflationary environment like 2026, companies crave certainty. Offering to stay for a year in exchange for a lower rate is a massive win for them and a massive win for your monthly cash flow. Negotiating with the big bad, medical bills. This is the one that scares people the most. You get a bill from a hospital or a lab for $2,400, and you feel like you have to pay it or your credit score will be nuked into the Stone Age. Actually, medical billing is one of the most negotiable areas of the American economy. Why? Because hospitals expect a high percentage of uncollectible debt. They would rather have $800 today than a $2,400 debt they have to sell to a collection agency for $100. The strategy: the itemized receipt and the prompt pay discount. The script: I've received bill number 12345. Before I process payment, I need a fully itemized bill with CPT codes. I also want to see the Medicare reimbursement rate for these specific services. Why this works. When you ask for CPT codes, current procedural terminology, the billing department realizes you aren't an easy target. Often, errors, like being charged $40 for a single Tylenol, miraculously disappear when an itemized bill is requested. Once you have the real number, use the cash-in-hand script. I cannot afford the $1,800 total. However, I have $900 available right now. If you can accept this as payment in full to settle the account today, I can authorize the transfer immediately. Otherwise, I'll need to go on a $20 a month payment plan for the next 7 years. From the hospital's perspective, the net present value of $900 today is much higher than $20 a month over a decade. Most will take the deal. The bank fee shakedown. Let's talk about banks. In 2026, overdraft protection fees and minimum balance fees are basically just poor taxes. They are predatory, plain, and simple. If you get hit with a fee, do not accept it. The script. I noticed a $35 overdraft fee on my account. I've been a customer with this bank for 5 years, and I've brought in X amount in deposits this year. I'd like this fee reversed as a gesture of goodwill. Also, if this can't be waived, I'll be looking into moving my direct deposit to a neobank that doesn't charge these fees. Banks are terrified of losing direct deposits. It's their lifeblood. They will almost always blink first. Addressing the time versus money. Objection. I can hear some of you saying, John, my time is worth $50 an hour. If I spend 3 hours on the phone to save $100, I'm barely breaking even. This is a classic financial fallacy. Here's what most people don't realize. Your hourly rate at your job is taxed. If you earn $50 an hour, after federal, state, and FICA taxes, you're taking home maybe $35. But when you save $100 on a bill, that is tax-free money. You don't pay the government a cut of the money you didn't spend. To get $100 of spending power from your job, you have to earn $140. To get $100 of spending power from a negotiation, you just have to ask. Negotiating is the highest-paying side hustle you will ever have. The insurance umbrella. Revelation. This is a trick that almost nobody uses, and it's where it gets really interesting for those of you with multiple insurance policies. Most people bundle because a commercial told them to, but they don't actually check if the bundle is working. The strategy, the cross-carrier threat. The script. I have my auto with you, but my homeowner's is with competitor Y. Competitor Y is offering me a 25% discount to move my auto over to them. I'd prefer to keep everything here for simplicity, but I need you to beat their combined rate by at least $200 a year to make it worth my while. You are essentially starting a bidding war where you are the prize. In 2026, insurance algorithms are more aggressive than ever. They have churn models that predict when a customer is about to leave. By mentioning a specific competitor and a specific price point, you trigger those models to offer you the maximum possible discount. The relatable analogy. The leaky bucket. Imagine you're trying to fill a bucket with water. That's your income. You're working harder, running faster to the well, bringing back more water every year. But the bucket has 10 tiny holes in the bottom. Most people think the solution is to run faster and get more water. That's hustle culture. I'm telling you to stop running and plug the holes. If you plug the holes, the bucket stays full, even if you walk slowly. Negotiation is the plug for the holes in your financial bucket. The 2026 Loyalty Credit Secret. Here's a phrase you need to start using. Manual retention credit. Sometimes the rep will say, "The system won't let me go any lower." The response. I understand the automated system has limits. Can you check if there is a manual retention credit or a service credit that can be applied to my account for the next 12 months to offset the price increase? Often, there is a secondary pool of funds that isn't tied to the plan price, but is instead a bill credit. It looks the same on your bank statement, but it bypasses the standard pricing rules the rep is stuck with. The ultimate take-action motivation. Look, I know this feels like a chore. I know that calling a telecom company is about as fun as a root canal, but I want you to look at your bank account. Look at the fixed expenses line. That number represents hours of your life. Every dollar you overpay is 10 minutes of your life you gave to a corporation for free. Do you want to work 40 hours a year just to pay for a loyalty tax? Or would you rather take those 40 hours and spend them with your kids, or building a business, or literally just sleeping? Wealth isn't just about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep. In 2026, the polite person loses. The busy person loses. The person who understands the math and the psychology of the negotiation, that person wins. Your homework. Pick one bill today. Just one. Use the scripts I gave you. Spend the 20 minutes. Then come back to this video and comment exactly how much you saved. Let's start a thread of wins to show everyone else that this actually works. Stop letting them win by default. Go get your money back. If you thought your $150 internet bill was a headache, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The one that's currently eating 30%, 40%, maybe even 50% of your take-home pay, your rent. In 2026, we're seeing a weird phenomenon. Corporate landlords are using AI-driven yield management software to push rents to the absolute limit. They'd rather have a 5% vacancy rate with sky-high rents than 100% occupancy with fair rents. They are playing a game of chicken with your livelihood. Now you might be thinking, John, I live in a big complex owned by a massive REIT. They don't negotiate. The price is the price. Actually, that is exactly what they want you to believe. But remember our talk about customer acquisition cost, CAC? Finding a new tenant is a nightmare for a landlord. They have to pay for deep cleaning, repainting, listing fees, and potentially a month or two of the unit sitting empty. That turnover cost in 2026 is usually between $2,500 and $4,000. The strategy, the pre-renewal pivot. Do not wait until your lease is 10 days from expiring. You have zero leverage then because they know you're too stressed to move. Start 60 to 90 days out. The corporations have teams of thousands of people whose only job is to figure out how to take an extra $5 from you. You are one person, but you are a person with a script, a plan, and the willingness to say no. Go through your bank statement tonight. Find the loyalty tax. Highlight it in red. And tomorrow morning, start making those phone calls. You aren't asking for a favor. You are reclaiming your labor. Take the win. You earned it.